Good evening, one and all. Welcome along to Season 3, Episode 27. We are totally in a fluster here at UK Dallas Cowboys headquarters. I'm fresh off Christmas party and I'm not going to lie, I've had a few beers and a few drinks. So I'm not going to say very much tonight. I'm going to leave it with the three guys. So we have Paul Stewart back from his holidays in the US.
Yeah, I'm more broke than ever.
More broke than ever. And we have our two main contributors tonight who are going to be Graham and Rach, who are going to talk an awful lot of O-line tonight. How are you both feeling, gents?
Yeah, there's an awful lot of audibles being called right now, and I'm not sure what the call signs are.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very much fun.
So, look, as we say, post-game show from the game against the football team. We beat them 27-20 at FedEx Field on Sunday. We're 9-4. We lead the NFC East. Paul is getting excited about the Canadian bulldozer, and I think our defence stood out, gentlemen. So what have you got to say about that?
Yep, that's my boy Neville Gallimore.
How fun is it to watch a competent defense in a Cowboys uniform? Because I'm not used to that. Like, be honest, I'm not used to that.
No,
That's pretty sick, especially this time in the season. It's exciting.
If there's any criticism, right, it's not so much criticism. We need to bear in mind it's Heineke, and who was the other quarterback? It was Allen. But then there's the Saints game. There was what's his face? Taysom Hill. So they're not elite quarterbacks. They're not going to be doing whatever. But the biggest test we're going to be doing is when we're going to play against Arizona. That type of quarterback against Kyler Murray. That's going to be the interesting part, how our defense is going to play against those guys.
Yeah, very true. But I have no problem with them building momentum against Washington and New York beforehand and getting used to going out and hitting the ground running and going out for blood.
Yeah,
I've got no problem with that.
Yeah. Who wants Dallas? Washington wants Dallas. Yeah.
You want Dallas.
Yeah, you got them all right.
You want Dallas and their benches.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure.
What a flex.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But as we say, folks, always send in your comments, send in your thoughts. Let us know who your studs and duds were from Sunday's game. Graham, I know you want to talk offensive line from Sunday's game, so take it away, sir.
What?
Yeah, Tyron Smith is injured. Who saw that coming?
Don't know.
I mean,
shit. It's almost like we discussed this, before the season. You know,
we're not shocked. We're not shocked. We like you said that from the very start of the season, Graham. That we expect to have Tyron Smith injured at some point during the season, miss a game or something like that. We knew that was expected. We knew that. So and it's just like it always seems to be more or less this time of year, always.
And the problem with it is, I'm not claiming. Don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming any credit for it. I just couldn't not see it happening. I mean, it's not like I'm dancing up and down with joy because I got one right. I'd rather he was on the field. I just couldn't get past seeing it. And the problem I have with it is, and the problem I kept raising during the off season is, it's December. So this is when the NFC East games come around. This is when we start our playoff run. I mean, our playoff run effectively starts in the middle of December because, despite being a few games ahead, I don't know if we have the leeway to lose a couple of games. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you lose a couple of division games at this time of year, you could have. I mean, right now Washington are the 7th seed. Sounds weird saying that, but Washington are the 7th seed, so they're not too far behind. Despite the loss, they're not too far behind.
Yeah.
So
if
wheels come off the cart for us, we're in trouble.
Well, here's the thing: like, see if Washington and Philadelphia were not playing against each other this weekend, and if both teams lost and we won, that would have been us. That would have been the division there and there. Like, I think that was like, if it was the other way about, if Washington were playing someone else and Philadelphia were playing someone else and they both lost those games, and I think if we were to win this game going forward, there would be no chance for them to catch up and like win the division. That it would be game over pretty much. But we still need to win 2 more games at the very least to secure this division, and we can't, and it's in every game, like, besides the Cardinals game, it's a divisional game. We need to win every single one.
Yeah,
I take the point from DJ Dog. He's brought up that it's not Tyron's neck, but it's Tyron's something. You know, whether it's a knee or a bicep or a tricep or
I think
shoulder,
I know what,
or a neck, or he's getting to that stage in his career.
Well, I think it was the ankle, because I remember what particular play it was. I think him and McGovern and a defensive tackle kind of went over his leg.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
He landed pretty much knee on his shin.
Yeah,
and you could see it when he got up, and he was down. He was slow to get up. His first couple of steps, he was walking very gingerly on it. Then he was bearing weight, and as he started walking more, there was like he was okay to walk. So I was like, okay, he's going to be fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's I don't think it's a terrible injury. I think it's going to be more bruising than anything. But
do you think this is more of a precaution?
Probably. I mean, realistically, if you look at, you can afford to drop. Generally in the season, you could probably afford to split against one divisional opponent. You could probably afford to split games against one.
Yeah,
we've already played. We've played all of them now, and it's the Giants. So if you're going to sit against any of them this year, it's probably safest to do it against the Giants. You sure as shit don't want to do it against Washington again. You don't want to do it against Philly, and you don't want to be doing it against Arizona. You're really only left with New York, so you may as well.
I mean, Dog brings up this question as well. Philly can beat Washington, and realistically, why can't we beat the Giants? No, we can beat the Giants without Tyron. That's the thing. We can.
Exactly.
And then that kind of brings back to your point there, Rich.
I do think it's worth it. You never want to see him sit out. And if guys
you want your best guys on the field, regardless.
Yeah, you want your best guys on the field, but at the same time, you want your best guys on the field in January.
Yeah.
And if he hasn't got to play in this game, you may as well just sit him out and rest him. There's an argument to be made there.
Well, I would go as tight as to say that we can't afford a loss, because if you look at the rankings right now, everybody above us is 10-3. For us to lose another game would put us to, I don't know, 12-5 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That puts us on the road for the divisional round and the championship game, and obviously you're not at home for the Super Bowl. So I don't want to go into Arrowhead. I don't want to go into Lambeau. I don't see. I don't think we can afford it.
It is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all well and good, but outside of having a bye, I don't think you really should put much emphasis and much of a point on where you go to play the game, because at the end of the day, the first thing you got to do is get there. Then you got to go and play wherever you got to play, whether it's home, whether it's someone else's stadium. It is what it is. Yes, there's stadiums you ideally don't want to go and play in, especially in the playoffs because of the way they are. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, you don't want to go and have to play in Arrowhead. You don't want to have to go up to Green Bay. But if you got to do it, you got to do it. You still got to win. Otherwise, you may as well just not go. You may as well just stay home.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to address this point. And I mean, look, Rich and Graham, you've been saying this ad nauseum for the last 2 years, right? And it's basically
I've been saying it as well.
Not using Paul, you have as well. I know you're more defensive line, but you have said this as well. So look, any one of the three you can address this, or all of you individually, is that we haven't used premium picks on O-line, and it's costing us now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take this one on. I said during the draft process that Rashawn Slater would have been a huge upgrade on. See if the Cowboys had taken Rashawn Slater, Connor Williams and Connor McGovern would be nowhere near the starting offense.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. I love the Micah Parsons pick, and he is staring defensive player of the year in the face right now.
He's looking MVP.
You might as well give him defensive rookie right now. Just hand it to him.
Yeah.
And then we go into the conversation about defensive player of the year. Love the pick, but like the year we took CeeDee Lamb, there were alternatives. Would they have worked out? Who knows?
I would have thought, like, looking back, second round, we could have picked up offensive linemen. I mean, there was players that was falling into the second round that would have been a late first round pick and stuff like that. I thought, you know what, that could have been more of a. But that's what it is.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here with you, Paul, and I'm not picking at you in any way on this, right? Because if we look at it, right, the question kind of is, we haven't spent a premium pick, and for me, a premium pick is your first round pick, right?
Yeah.
And we have, over the last several years, we've picked up Connor Williams, Connor McGovern, Tyler Biadasz, who were 2 of 3 starters on our offensive line in the second, third, and fourth rounds in 2018, 2019, 2020, right? And unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get an adequate lineman outside of the first round. So I think that feeds into kind of where Rich and Graham are going with their points, in that, you know, yes, we don't disagree now, with the benefit of hindsight, that CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons have been great picks, but it's not fixing the O-line, which is the major crux of what's going on with our offense at the minute. I think, Rich, as you said, or Graham, one of you said at the weekend when we were talking during the game, we're trying to change the oil in the engine while the engine is still running.
Pretty much. I mean, the thing you need to take into account is just, I mean, for years and years now, this has been going on. Graham and I have been saying about this for years, and we have been not trying to prognosticate it, but it's the writing's been on the wall. They've gone from investing heavily in the O-line years ago and then rolled with it. And since then, it's been deteriorating, and they've not been backing it up adequately. But at the same time, you've got other needs on the team. Outside of last year, there's been other needs in the team that you need to address. So you need to decide which poison you're going to take, which one you're going to do. At the end of the day, you've got to make a decision. Something's going to suffer. When you're in a year where especially like last year, where you've got so many things to try and fix. We said going into the draft, even though Graham and I really wanted an offensive lineman, we agreed that the biggest problem on this team was the defense, and that's what you needed to fix the most, probably the quickest. So you're not going to fix everything, but I think they've left it now so long. It really is starting to take the mick now, because when you lose Tyron Smith, that's always been a big factor. There's never been anyone adequate behind him. You can move people around to a certain degree to cover other positions. The ability to do that is, I think, massively diminished at Tyron's position, at left tackle. There's no one there around to adequately pick up that position, and there never has been.
Yeah.
So it's always been a problem when he's been injured. We've never done okay against good teams when he's been injured. Never happened.
Just to follow up what you're saying there, Rich, like, let's put this comparison from last season. I think last season is always a good reference point, regardless. When you compare how our offense, even though that got injured last year, put that aside, but when you look at overall how the O-line worked last year, they were probably just as bad as they were last year. If not anything, we have improved, but not to the expectation that we expect them to be. And I think
And that's part of the problem. It's because we've come from that, but then you've invested so many picks in the past in the hope that that is then going to hold out whilst you address everything else. Now, unfortunately, other positions, it's taken a long time to get pieces in the players in the right place. And now, obviously, this is coming back around as a problem. But it needs addressing now. I think in the next draft, I think they've shown that they're going to ride Tyron for as long as he's comfortable to go, and then they will address it. But they can't keep going like this much longer, because realistically, not far behind him is going to be other people going as well.
Well,
DJ Dog's last point, I think he made the point. No way would we take Rashawn Slater over Micah Parsons, and going by the obvious. No, we shouldn't have.
Who is it?
But the point I'm trying to make is that you can't get premium talent on the offensive line. I mean, he made the point himself. You can't get premium talent in day two. You can find a good linebacker in day two, but you will not find a starting left tackle day one and round two.
I've only seen
they're being identified with issues.
Yeah, I've only seen that happen outside of round one. That exact point, I've only ever seen that happen once. Now, granted, I'm only 30. I've not been watching football as long as a lot of other people, but I've only seen it happen once and heard of it happening once, and that's Lyle Collins. And that was a very unique situation.
Well, he was touted to be a first-round draft pick.
Exactly.
But the only player I can think of outside the first round, and funny enough, he is the oldest offensive tackle in the league right now. It's Andrew Whitworth for the Rams.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, he's been doing this since 2006. He's been in the league for 15 seasons, sorry. And he's 40 years old now, and he's still playing at a high level, playing at the left tackle position, and he's solid. And I think he was a late second round draft pick or something like that, late second round,
something like that.
So something like that. But it just comes to show, I think it really is how the scheme works for that particular player, who the coaches are. There's so many factors. I mean, we talk about Penny Sewell, for example. We talked about him in the draft. He's not been special for Detroit at all, but he was special in college. We're seeing him. He has his flaws when he's playing for Detroit. So, I mean, would he been better if he came to Dallas with a different type of coach? Possibly.
Potentially different coach. Drafting talent is. Yeah, drafting talent is one thing. Getting them with the right coach and then the right group is a completely different kettle of fish.
See for like Parsons, when we're talking about.
Yeah,
I know we kind of went off the scale in terms of our normal schedule, talking offense and defense, and then our using updates and that. But I think for likes of Parsons, though, we even saw that before the draft. He's like Dallas needs me. Parsons saying that, it's no, Dallas needs me. I'm the type of player that they need. They've not had a player like me since bloody DeMarcus Ware, and it's true. It's absolutely true, and we're seeing that come into fruition right now. And he's a rookie, and he's absolutely balling his heart out on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. To be fair, Paul, and I'm going to use the comment that you always use. The draft is a lottery.
It is.
It really is. And it's not that we're trying to knock anybody here, because we're not. It's getting, as you guys have said repeatedly, it's getting the right guy in the right system with the right coach who can get the best out of those players. Luckily for us, we're getting the best out of Micah Parsons, and we will touch on this later in the show. We've a lot of time set aside for that. But it's more the case to touch on the fact that, it's 2014 since we've invested that premium first round pick on an offensive lineman. And it's now at the stage where it's taking the you-know-what that we're not doing it. And it's now time for us to go, we need to address this.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's time to kind of refresh the blue chip player of the offensive line, bring them into the scheme of like Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, learn from them and become part of that, which once was the Great Wall of Dallas, not one but twice. Make it version 3 now. You know.
Yeah, and the thing about like I grew up on that Great Wall of Dallas. Those guys were 4th, 5th, 6th round.
Yeah,
Sometimes
they were
undrafted guys
nobody. I said nobody wanted them. No one wanted them.
who had a chip on their shoulder. But unfortunately, in today's NFL, you need to invest in a premium pick, and I can see Graham is itching on this. Is that you need to invest that premium pick? So Graham, take it away.
How many studs did we have on defense when Dak went 13-3 in his first season?
Oh, good question.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Let me round it up for you. We didn't need many. We didn't need many. Why? Because our offense controlled the ball and had 40 minutes of time of possession. So we didn't need a good defense. Our offense was so good and our offensive line was so good, we could run teams to death.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter how good our defense was. We had a couple of studs. We maybe had a DeMarcus Ware, a Sean Lee. Did we have much more than that? Maybe a Byron Jones?
Byron Jones was there in 2015. Was it?
He was 2015 draft, yeah.
Yeah.
I would be very light in using the term stud.
But
in that instance.
But this is my point though. But because our offense was so good, we could get by with an average defense because we didn't need them.
Yeah.
We didn't need. As soon as the Cowboys were on offense with a 2-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter, the game was over.
Yeah,
because they would run Zeke, they would run his backup, whoever it was for that particular game. They would run teams to death. And the problem now is we need that defense because our offensive line isn't enough to stay balanced.
Right. So just to cut you off, so what I'll do is I'm going to run the actual segment video so we can actually then talk about actual offense. So we can keep normal schedule. So guys, we're still talking offense, but we're going to talk even more offense. And just like that. So as we were saying,
you think we'd lost on Sunday?
Yeah, you think we'd have
fired up?
Yeah,
Well, I think here's the thing. Like for me, right, we had a outstanding start to the season offensively. Like even though we lost to the Bucks, but from an offensive point of view, we were the better team offensively. I thought we were making the better plays and whatever and that. But ever since Dak picked up that wee small minor injury, he's not been the same. Like his decision making, his anticipation of within him in the pocket seems a wee bit too erratic. Like the first interception is unexcusable. He overthrew it by a long mile. Like you're talking about 2 meters above bloody CD Lamb, and the defensive players are all right, thank you. And the interception, you could put that on some blame to Dalton Schultz and that because he didn't continue. He couldn't continue this route after that. He just kind of stopped there, and Dak just kind of threw it, like tried to project it to where he was going to be. But still, Dak needs to do a lot better. Like we know he's better than that, and he's capable of doing that better. And there we go, Valente. Yeah, he is off right now. He is. I don't know what it is, but it's something that needs to be addressed for sure.
I have faith that Dak will sort his side of ship out. I'm not that concerned about that. I personally think Zeke needs to sit out a game.
Yes.
That would be a lot easier to say if Tony Pollard wasn't injured right now. But it has to happen because Zeke is playing for injuries. That much is evident. He has a bit of rest. They've had a bit of a mini bye. He comes out the start of that game. He looked fine as the game was wearing on and he was getting contact. He started looking more like he has over the past couple of games. He's definitely playing through stuff.
Crazy financially, like we had what was it, 123, 132 yards of rushing in that game.
That's the thing. With what we got, and Zeke didn't bust out any massive runs. He had some decent runs, but there wasn't anything massive there. It was half decent.
Yeah, I mean,
but the running yards we got on the ground was good. It was good enough. So you've got to think you should be able to replicate a decent amount of that without him in and without Tyron in. I think it's worth it personally. I think you can still beat New York without him there. I think you dress him up, make him a healthy scratch, and you don't put him in unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, maybe like third down or something like that.
Yeah, basically, I think you shouldn't play him if you don't have to. But going back to the original question that Brian asked, in terms of you're in a position where you have to spend first round talent to get a good offensive lineman. It's like everything, like you said before, and like Paul's always said, it is a lottery, and it absolutely is. But that's the whole point, is it's the risk reward, is by spending that high level talent, you reduce the risk and you hopefully increase the likelihood of the person you get, the person you pick, is going to be around for a while and is going to be good. Now, if there's one position on the line that you're going to want to put a first round talent in, it is to cover your quarterback's blind side.
Yeah.
Every team will do it no matter what. Tyron Smith's replacement has to be a first round pick. There is no question about it. It has to be. So it's not even a case of, can we get away with it? Can we do this? Can we do that? It has to be. You have to take the best person available, or you're opening yourself up to too much risk. It has to be. Then you have to go further down the line afterwards to say, okay, is there someone else we want to get? Is there a trade you want to make? Anything else?
Alternatively, Rich, as well, it could be hitting the free agency. There could be a left tackle, like former first round talent, whatever.
I would rather have a fresh person. I think if you're going to do this, you're going to start building the O-line, you have to build it from fresh, personally. And I think if we were going to go and get an offensive lineman, the best opportunity we had left before, at the preseason, I honestly thought if they were going to do anything, they would have traded Michael Gallup to go and do it. But it didn't happen.
But this kind of goes back to, this is kind of go more of a point for point here. So what I'm kind of saying is, like, what if there's not a first round talent? That's what I'm kind of.
If there's not a first round talent, then you're shit out of luck, and you got to hope for the best.
We may have to bring in someone in for that one season, for example, that we've done before.
I'll make a quick point and I'll throw it to you, Graham. Free agency, you overpay. You always overpay.
You do.
So you're better to go for a rookie. And as always, there is a lot of O-line talent in the draft, and I'm going to throw it over to you, Graham.
Yeah. Two points I'll make on it, and there aren't that many, and that's why they go high. If you're taking a tackle in the second round, there are red flags. And I made the point a couple of weeks ago that with your first round pick, you basically pick the guy with the fewest red flags. If all the flags are green and you need that position, go ahead and take him. But if you're taking a tackle in day 2 or day 3, he has red flags. There are red flags there. Otherwise, he's a day 1 talent. That's why they go early. That's why you see tackles fly off the board inside the top 15. And that's maybe we were in the position to get one of them. We could have moved around a little bit. We could have jumped up. We could have stayed where we were. Again, not knocking the Parsons pick, but like Rich says, if you want a guy with the fewest flags, you take him in the first round. If a guy falls to a second round and he's a tackle, he has footwork issues. His arms aren't long enough. He's not tall enough. He's not stocky enough.
Strong enough.
They're easy to spot. And with free agency, if you're signing a starting left tackle in free agency, there's something wrong with him, because his previous team has said, you're not worth the money. You are not worth 16, 17, 18 million dollars, and they've let him walk.
Well, again, and here's an kind of argument regards to like in the money and stuff like that. Some of it could be down to cap issues. They may have to let go of that star player to open up. Like, for example, the Raiders, they let go of their starting left tackle. Like, you know, that's like no.
I still if you're building a franchise, you're taking left tackle 1, 2, or 3. If I'm starting as a franchise today, my top 3 are quarterback, left tackle, and a pass rusher.
Yeah.
And if you're letting one of your top 3 guys walk out the building, he's not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think realistically, if you're going to have a good, solid O-line, you need, at the very least, at an absolute minimum, to have 3 round 1 quality, whether they were picked there or not, but round 1 quality guys out of a 5-man unit to start on the field. And you need adequate backups. But you need 3 of them to control that. One of them has to be left tackle. One of them, personally, I think, has to be the center. And the other one you can place wherever you want, but probably he should be on the right side just for logic, because you need to capture the edge. If you're going to be establishing a solid run team, which everyone is still saying, and I slightly disagree with it to a degree, saying that Dallas is very much a run-first offense. I disagree with it more these days, but historically, we have been, in the past couple of years, especially since Dak and Zeke were picked, then you have to have that quality there, and it has to be spread on the line. At the minute, we don't have it consistently because people are injured and things are happening.
Yeah.
So kind of like, well, I think we've kind of talked quite a lot about the O-line so far.
Yeah.
We've not even started with our wide receivers or even that, really. So, not to kind of take over the show a little bit, but I'm just kind of thinking, is there any concern with regards to our wide receivers as well right now? Because I feel as though that game, and I don't know about you guys, I just kind of felt as though that game, there was a lot of missed opportunities in terms of the passing. Like, there was a screen pass to CD Lamb very early on in the game that could have resulted to a pick 6. That could have happened. And I'm just like, it's like, that stuff should never have to happen. It shouldn't.
You're talking about the one that happened in the hands?
Yeah.
I think he basically started to think about turning upfield before he secured the catch.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to I do want to bring it back to the offensive line a little bit before we do it. But this is my concern, is everybody is calling for CeeDee Lamb to be our wide receiver 1. He's not wide receiver 1 yet. He will be a wide receiver 1. I fully know that he will be. But Amari Cooper is our wide receiver 1 on this team. And he creates the openings for Michael Gallup, for CeeDee Lamb, for Dalton Schultz, for Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, Blake Jarwin. And this team is not going to go anywhere without Amari Cooper. CeeDee Lamb still is in the learning stage of being an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
But part of what my main concern is that what the wide receivers are doing, yes, it is bad, but I'm still bringing it back to the O-line and the concerns that I have. And as much as we've talked on left tackle, I have a huge concern about our centre. And I'm not sure if that's the same as you guys, because Dak does not seem to trust this O-line. And he's getting a little bit happy feet in the pocket.
I'm more concerned with left guard. I'm more concerned with left guard than I am with centre, being perfectly honest.
And that's a fair point, Paul. Like, I wouldn't disagree with it at all. I'm more concerned about the centre. But again, I do agree with you that the left guard is a huge concern. Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, I'm more with Paul on this. Very quickly on the wide receivers, I think there are concerns. I think that is more this whole funk that's going on at the minute between Dak and them. It seems very much mistimings, miscommunication, all the rest of it. Even pre-snap, with his, I think it was the previous game with Lamb, didn't know what was going on at one point. It's like, what the fuck am I going? And very last second lined up right. I think that's more funk rather than you having to draft people to replace it. The O-line is a different situation. That's a different kind of problem. That's aging people. That's injury concerns. People are going to need replacing if they don't already. I side more with Paul in the whole centre-left guard thing. I think centre is potentially an issue. I think it needs a bit more time. I agree with you that I don't think Dak trusts him 100%, but I do think it needs more time. I think left guard is definitely a bigger problem.
I agree. Yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Is Dak starting to see ghosts? Is that why the pass sailed?
It's a fair point.
Who was it?
I think it's definitely been since that little injury he picked up earlier on in the season. It's been since then. I think it's just niggling him and it's affecting everything else. Personally, is what I think. I think if they can get to a decent point at the end of the season, if they can win a couple of games and win it out, and maybe even sit Dak for the last game, because obviously it's not looking like they're going to get first week bye, then I think that's something you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the Joneses have openly talked about it. There's an article on NFL.com. They've openly admitted there's disconnections with Dak at the minute, but they're convinced they'll sort it out, and you have to believe that they'll sort it out.
Oh, yeah. It's not the first time it's happened before. I mean, back in the 2018 and 2017 season, there was gaps of pure madness from Dak, but he managed to get his shit together. Then you saw at the start of last season, he was absolutely balling.
Yeah,
and even the start of this season,
every decent team, even the best. And you look at this year as well, especially. I think it's more pronounced this season, but it's not a new trend. All the good seasons have a funk.
Oh yeah, I mean,
look at even the Bucks have had it with Tom Brady. Look at the Steelers, the Seahawks had it previously. The Chiefs have had it this season. Lots of teams had it this season. Arizona had it. I think that was more down to injury than anything else, but still.
Yeah, Mahomes has not really been that gunslinger quarterback.
Exactly. Lots of good teams have funks. It's inevitable in a season that's this long. It's inevitable you're gonna have it happen, and a lot of it is going to be down to injury. But I can't remember who said it. It was on one of the programs the other day. I think it was on the break. The great teams find a way to make it work and to round back into being the best version of themselves the tail end of the year. If you look what's happening now, the team is finally starting to get healthy. We're getting everyone back. The first game back, the defense is healthy. Look what they went and did. Gallimore came back. Look how he played.
I think it was actually DJ Dog that raised the point that this week was the first time that the Cowboys started all 11 starters. Now, obviously, I'm saying that about left guard, but they put their first choice in at left guard. They had
everyone that they wanted, ideally, on the field.
I've got a great question from DJ Dog here, and this is a really, really good one, actually. Does anyone believe that Kyler Murray, after bad games against the Packers and Rams, gets as much criticism as Dak does? No.
Because Dak is the
first overall pick.
It's as simple as that.
The only quarterback I can hand on heart say I think gets as much criticism after a bad performance or has had this season is Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the only one that comes anywhere near, and I think that is just a fact of the team he plays for.
Yeah, and it's the same for us. Just like if Dak was playing for, just hypothetically speaking here, like if Dak was playing for another team as a starter, he would not be getting as much criticism. Like you don't see Joe Burrow getting criticized. It's more open public. It sort of seems to be Dak and the Cowboys, Dak in this and Dak in that. Like, and that's because the Cowboys is a media frenzy for content, regardless how people like it or not. And this is why we are regarded as the America's team, but also the world's teams. So,
nice bloke.
You wouldn't have seen the performance that Jimmy Garoppolo put in at the weekend. He played an absolute stinker. He still kept Trey Lance on the sideline.
Yeah,
that got half the heat that got, and the Cowboys won.
I do want to bring up something, and to be fair, I think Andrew is kind of supporting what I'm saying here, and it's a concern. Is the amount of high snaps that Dak is getting. Dak's having to catch balls over his head.
There's a lot. It's not just Dak.
Concern. Yeah.
It's not just Dak though. It happens a lot actually on punts. Happens a lot.
Yeah.
I have concerns
just
about the coaching there, because it happens a lot on punts. You see a lot of times having to bring the ball back down to punt it.
This goes back to supplementing your offensive line and not replacing it. Day 2 guys, day 3 guys that have got flags, You take the risk and hope it irons out, and you go and take the stud wide receiver, and you go and take the stud linebacker, and you supplement other positions and keep your fingers crossed and pray to the heavens that your day 2 guy and your day 3 guy can live up to the standard. And I bet that was one of Tyler Biadish's red flags. His shotgun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you got a boat and it's taken on water, you can plug it up with wooden planks. You can plug it up with whatever you want. You can cover it up. You can board it over. You can put a plaster over it. You can put Flex Seal over it. Other stuff's available, similar products, whatever the fuck you want. The only way you can properly seal it off is to get it out of the water, redo it completely.
Yeah.
You got to do a proper job to stop it taking on water properly for a prolonged period of time. When you supplemented things and patching it because you're trying to maintain that as a strength of your team because you invested so much in it previously, you've now got to focus on other stuff. You're going to do that.
I mean,
you've got no choice but to a degree, because you can't just keep supplementing your offensive line and not addressing the other needs on your team.
I'm just going to use this point here, and it was something that just kind of occurred to me here is what the Saints did a couple of years ago, back in 2019 and 2020. 2019, they drafted a center in the second round, I believe, but in the following year, no, 2020 was the first round.
Well, I think both were first, but it doesn't matter. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, but either way, it's like Cesar Ruiz and some other guy that they drafted.
Eric McCoy.
Yeah, and they moved him to guard, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that again, it's like that kind of falls under the what Graham's kind of talking about. It's like getting that stud player, whatever, and that, and so.
Let's not forget as well, a big part of the position we're in, and I mean this in no bad way. I'm not trying to put blame on the guy in any way, shape, or form. Zero, not my intention here at all. But it has had a big effect on this unit and on this team that Travis Frederick didn't play his full potential in terms of the longevity of his career because it was cut short, which again isn't his fault, but that's had an effect on this unit and on this team.
Yeah.
If he'd have still been around, you wouldn't have had to get another center.
Yeah,
you could have gone somewhere else on the line.
And that's another thing where we're talking about Travis Frederick here, and again we're still talking about O-line here. but in terms of Travis Frederick, we did not expect to pick him at pick 16 or something like that?
31.
Exactly.
31. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying 16. Sorry, but pick 31.
We dropped down from 16 down to 31.
Right.
In a trade. And we took Travis Frederick, who was graded by most as a third rounder.
Yeah, everyone had him done as a third rounder. We picked him in the first round, and it doesn't necessarily say what all the scouts say. It depends what our scouts say. End of the day.
Yeah.
But the reason, just to be very quick on it, the reason that Graham and I are so, I think it's for Graham, but it definitely is for me. The reason that we're so focused in on the offensive line is because the game literally starts and flows on from the trenches. It is won and lost a lot of the time in the trenches. If you don't have that unit there that is solid, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to win. Which is why, going back to the way what Graham said back in 2016, when we were literally running over everyone in this league, because we were imposing our will on everyone because the line was solid and we were winning every battle in the trenches. Everything else flows on from there ultimately, because you either have, it sets you up for blocking for the run, it sets you up, buys time in the pocket for plays to develop. Like, remember how much time the play clocks that even Romo had in his last season, and then Dak had, the amount of time those guys had in the pockets for people to work themselves open. If you had that now with this receiver core, it would be insane. It would be absolutely insane. You could run over everyone. You could wait for people to work free, because they will. Amari Cooper will. 100%.
Right. So
spot on. Because see, when you think we took first round talent up until 2014, and then we got Collins, our first round talent in 2015, and that's when our run game took off with so much talent in the offensive line. And see, when you got to the fourth quarter, Zeke was averaging 4 yards a carry, first down 4 yards, second down 4 yards, third down 4 yards, first down, and before you know it, you've just burned a minute and a half off the clock. You've done absolutely nothing, but you've ripped a minute and 30 off the clock simply by just running the ball. That's amazing defense.
Yeah, and this is why. It's the same on defense as well. But this is why we focus in, for anyone that doesn't know, this is why we focus in so much on it, because it is the core of pretty much of the game of football.
Especially in December.
Especially in December, when everyone's beat up, when people are tired, when you're trying your best to make it. If you can do the simple things right, win your matchups, work as a unit, and win in the trenches, you're giving yourself the best chance.
Okay. So just there is a comment here, and I do want to address it from David. So hypothetically, if we pick late in the first round, do you think there would be a worthwhile left tackle? And I know you guys aren't probably as deep into the draft as I am at this stage, or Mike would be. Couple of names to watch out for: Charles Cross from Mississippi State, Darian Kennard from Kentucky. And I'm going to make Rich and Graham so happy when I say this name and give the details. 6'8", 380 pounds.
I want him.
Of beef. Daniel Falele from Minnesota.
2 trash cans full of dirt.
Well, I mean, I see. Sorry, who was the question from, Brian? Who was it from?
It was from David Ironside.
I see what David's getting at. And my answer to the question is no. No, because I think the premium offensive talent has gone by the late teens.
I'd agree.
Because teams jump up to get them.
Yeah,
because there aren't 52 to go around.
See again,
there's no guarantee we're not going to be picking in the late teens either.
Exactly. Like, here's the thing: like, you're not always like this is what I keep on saying. It's the lottery. Like I keep saying, like, Penny Sewell's not doing a great of a job right now at Detroit right now. Like, and he's supposed to be the man. He was the one that everyone was talking about.
Oh yeah.
But when you look at other players down in the past, Eric Fisher's degraded substantially over the years. Like, he had a good first 3 years, but ever since then, he's just kind of being like, he's been doing a lot more penalty holds and stuff like that. Basically what I'm trying to say is, not every player will you pick, and it goes back to my main argument. It's a lottery. It really is. Like, you'll definitely get more talent for sure, but there's still always that question mark. It's never guaranteed. Never.
The one thing I'll counter this, Paul, and again, I'm not picking at your point here, is I think this front office has nailed, I would say, 10 of the last 12 first-round picks they've made. The only two I can think of are Taco Charlton.
Yes.
And that every first-round pick we've made has had a huge contribution to this team. So I get what you're saying. Yes, it's a lottery. But our front office has been nailing it for a long time now. So
that's true.
You know, I think they will make the right pick regardless of who it is. And look, we're all on record as saying we want offensive line. I've named off some guys there.
Mate, I'm on record to say I didn't want CD Lamb at first.
Yeah. This is the thing.
You know,
I want the best player that's there, ideally at a position of need. If the benefit far outweighs the need, then I'm okay with it, which is why I was okay with taking CeeDee Lamb and why I was okay with taking Micah Parsons, as much as I want the offensive line addressed.
Yeah.
But you can only ride that pony so far if it keeps happening year after year. It's happened twice now.
Right. Yeah. I don't know about you guys.
Probably have to do something next year.
I don't know you guys, but is there anything positive we could say about our offense before we move on to talking about the defense, which is all positive?
Oh fuck it! This at the end of the day, they won. It was a hard fought win, but they went and won in the Superdome. That's no small feat
Superdome
in itself.
The Superdome?
Super.
Are you Hulk?
You know what I
Are
mean?
you Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Superdome was that when I was there? You're talking about the stadium. It's actually falling apart, and there's actual sewage coming down from the stand.
Yeah.
That one.
Anyway.
That one.
They won. My point is, they're winning the games they need to win.
Yeah.
They're getting it done. There's a funk going on. They'll sort it out. But they are winning games.
It does sound. It sounds like we're being tough on the offense, but it's not much of a podcast if we all sit back and go, "Yeah, we won the game, so the offense is fine. Let's move on." Do you get what I mean? We're discussing what needs to be discussed, but let's face it, it's a cracking offense. Really, I mean, it's
like from a general consensus. Yeah, we have got a star-studded offense. It's just like we were playing like elite level at the start, and we seem to drop in performance. But if there's any,
and then the defense has come up. So now everyone's healthy on the defense. Hopefully, everyone stays healthy. They stay hungry. They can sort this funk out, and you bring the offense back up.
Well,
then you're really in town at the right time of year.
Well, that's a great wee segue.
That's perfect. That's what you need to go make a deep run.
There you go, Rich.
To give yourself a chance.
There you go, Rich. You just set me up just to set us up going for the defense there. So, are you guys happy to move on?
Roll on.
Let's go for it. All super positives for this one, boys. Right, the fun stuff. This is what I'm excited to talk about.
Right, just talk about Neville Gallimore for like 5 minutes. We'll give you 5 minutes. Just go, get it out your system, and then we'll go. All right.
Are we really going to start this segment?
All I'm going to say is my boy came out, and I told you so. He was going to come out guns blazing when he came back for injury. I told you, and it's exactly what happened.
I can't believe we didn't start. I can't believe we didn't start this segment without talking about Micah Parsons.
I can't believe we didn't talk about DeMarcus Lawrence.
Or Trevor Diggs.
Right, okay.
Or Randy Gregory.
He got his sack. Fair enough. Let's move on.
Right, guys.
Why would you say that?
Guys, everyone in the comments as well. What are you guys supposed to do? We need to get Randy Gregory signed in a new contract ASAP before it's too late.
Yeah,
that's my.
Yeah,
because I'm worried his value is going to super skyrocket now.
Yeah,
it already is, and it has been. It's been going up for years. But this is why he's hung around for so long. And obviously, going back years and years ago, everyone had their opinions. Fair enough, on all the problems he had, all the mental health problems, how he was dealing with that with the weed. This is why he stuck around. No one now has a problem with it.
Yeah,
this is why he stuck around.
Field, he's an absolute monster. Absolute monster.
Rod Marinelli wanted him for a reason.
Exactly.
Everyone else has wanted him to stick around for a reason. Now, I know Jerry Jones is president, CEO of the Second Chance Company, but fuck me, there's a reason he kept Randy Gregory around as well.
Well, I'm going to pick that up for you, Rich, because Jerry Jones went on the Fan 2 months ago, I believe it was, and he said Randy Gregory had the highest SAT scores that they have ever seen.
Randy Gregory is my favorite post-game interview listen, and he has been all season. And I said it at the start. Listen to him his post-game interviews, because he is one intelligent motherfucker, and he has a badass attitude as well. That is sick. It is brilliant. His post-game interviews are brilliant because they're educational and it gets you pumped up. It's awesome.
Yeah. Paul, to your question, I'm going to kind of address this. Look, Randy Gregory is going to get his new deal from Dallas, and I think we all know that. And I think we all accept it's going to be backloaded. And I think DeMarcus Lawrence is going to give up money to make sure that Randy Gregory stays in Dallas.
That guy will.
I think I am going to speak for Graham. I'll believe it when I see it.
No. It will happen.
It's going to happen.
I think he is the only person, or one of the only people, that DeMarcus would do that for.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it happening.
I think it will happen.
I can see it, but at the same time, I do have my doubts because of D-Law.
I get that.
Right.
My gut says it'll happen, though. I'm happy to put money on it if you want to.
Here's my point.
Just saying.
Right. Randy Gregory was drafted in 2015. Right. It's 2022, and he is coming up to finishing his rookie contract. 7 years.
That's
nuts.
Right? If he leaves Dallas, the whole entire support system around him is going to collapse. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't think he is going to leave that support system. He will know that he will be paid on the back end of his contract. And Graham, I can see it in you. But I fully believe he will be paid on the back end of his contract, and he knows he'll be paid on the back end of his
Randy Gregory is your new Sean Lee, in that he is the company man. He will be around for the rest of his career because of how this franchise has stuck by him. And yes, he will. They're probably going to hope that he will take slightly less money. As long as they make him a fair offer, he will take it.
Come on, Graham. I'm dying to hear what you have to say, mate. Come on, tell me.
Right.
Right.
Hold on a minute. Where'd that start here? Right. Right. Give me a couple of minutes to a minute. You're going to make me sound like the bad guy here. You really, really are.
Yours.
Don't be the bad guy. Don't be the bad guy, Graham.
I will start my statement by saying I love Randy Gregory, and I hope to the heavens that he stays and signs a brand new 4-year deal.
There's a but. I can hear a but coming.
But
hey,
Point one. The Cowboys, as of right now, are $12 million over the cap. Right? Let me rhyme off. Let me
million over the cap.
Let me rhyme off our free agent starters: Keanu Neal, Van Der Esch, KZ, Kers, Gallup. Did Hooker start on Sunday?
He did. He played. I don't think he started.
All right.
Situation.
Connor Williams, starter. Randy Gregory, yes, included. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, but I think there's a fair amount of those people. Not. I wouldn't do it to the extent that Brian's done it, where he's just gone, yeah. But there's a fair amount of those people, at least 2 or 3 solidly, that I think that could leave, and I don't think it would be a massive problem.
Ooh.
If Randy Gregory goes, it's a massive problem.
DJ Dog with a comment there.
I agree. I agree with you. He is the big name on that list, right? But you're clear. I can't do the sums in my head. I can't figure out where we shave off that 12 million, keep at least half of those starters, and keep Gregory.
Well, you've got a couple of deals you can restructure for a start. You've got people that you haven't got to pay.
$30 to $40 million of a swing.
Isn't the cap going up though?
The cap is going up for a start.
This is factoring in the cap going up. But if you look at it, who's the first guy you're re-signing from that list? Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
So that's where everything starts and ends. You can figure out everything else around it. Your first conversation is with Randy Gregory. You can pick up another left guard. You can pick up another wide receiver. You can pick up linebackers, safeties. We know this team doesn't give a damn about safeties.
Well, we all know that, yeah.
They don't care. They will pick up anybody to play safety. They'll pick up a trash can to play safety. So talking about Hooker, KZ, Kurse, doesn't matter a damn.
I'd make an argument. I'd make an argument for either KZ or Kurse. I would definitely make an argument for one of them. I think they will keep at least one of them.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, I do. I really think they will. I know that's getting into it a bit postseason kind of stuff, but I do think they will keep at least one of them. But I think one of them goes. I think Hooker goes because I agree with you. Randy will get done first. It will be made to get done. They will find a way, like they always do.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, Graham, and it's a valid point. All I'm saying is, like Brian said, that's going to happen first, and everything else will flow on afterwards. They will find a way to get Randy done. Simple as. Same as they found a way to get Dak done, and they found a way to get Zeke done, and they'll find a way to get Trayvon Diggs done.
Well, like I said with Cooper, I hope it gets done. But it's going to have to be that kind of situation where Randy Gregory turns down an additional $5 million a year to stay with the Cowboys, and I fully accept that he has reason to do that. But again, I will just remind everybody that Randy Gregory has made is it $3 million, just over $3 million in his career.
That's crazy.
So somebody wants paid.
Look, Graham, as I say, I know where you're coming from and the points you're trying to make. Guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Amari Cooper are all going to go to bat, and they'll give up money to get this guy back onto the squad. They're not going to. Some of those guys wrote letters when Randy Gregory wasn't allowed into the building, when he wasn't allowed into the Star, and said, "We need to have this guy here. His best chance of overcoming the demons he has in his life are being around us, being with us." Randy Gregory is not going to forget those guys.
Absolutely.
And I don't think he's going to go, I could get however many million from the Saints or the Bucks or the Chiefs or whoever else. He's going to look and go, what guy stood beside me when I was at my lowest? Mm-hmm. And he is going to go, I'll do something to play with those guys. And as you said, Amari Cooper turned down $5 million extra. We all know he turned down extra money from Washington to stay with Dallas. And I think Randy will do the same to stay with Dallas because he knows what he has in Dallas. He's not gonna have a clue if he goes somewhere else on what his sports structure is going to be.
Yeah. It's the adjustment to a new setting as well. I think might be a wee bit too. I don't know, but
that's anyway. A big thing when you, from my experience of people with mental health issues and the struggles they have, especially when routine becomes a big factor, a big change like that is a very big thing. It goes from being just a big thing like for normal people to being a very big thing. Now, granted, my experience in that is limited, but it's something that I've seen. That is definitely a big thing to take into account. And you've got to appreciate as well the trust that is there between the two sides, like how much Randy Gregory must trust. And like we said, he's a very intelligent guy. So he's less likely to panic being in a position where his deal is backloaded, like it has been, like it is, and like it probably may well continue to be for years down the line. But he's okay with that because he knows he will get his money, and because there is trust there.
Yeah, like I know we've kind of talked. I know I kind of raised the question about Gregory, but I want to kind of like give our rest of our defense some limelight as well. So, but I've kind of just put up the display down below, guys, of all the stats here. I mean, Jordan Lewis, 6 tackles. Armstrong, 5 tackles, 1 fumble, 1 defensive touchdown. Parsons, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. KC, 2 tackles for losses. Chaos, 3 tackles. I mean, the names are popping out, and it's decent numbers against like a rival. Like even Diggs there, like 2 tackles and the 3 PDs as well. Then
he nearly had an interception as well.
Yeah, that's right.
There was multiple so near misses.
Everybody nearly had an interception.
Nearly everyone again nearly came away with an interception.
And the total yards we gave up was 224. I mean, that is a good start. Like that's I think that's based on both rushing and passing for us to contain them under 300 yards, that is a win-win regardless. It doesn't matter who you play. Like, even if that's an elite team or under 300 yards, that is fantastic. So, but yeah, and even
the next time somebody questions Dak Prescott's $40 million, go and ask Washington what they would pay Dak. Because right now,
that figure is a lot higher than 40 million right now.
Right now, Washington are in between a rock and a hard place at quarterback.
And the good thing is, this is what I didn't say earlier, actually, which I thought, that's just clicked something in my head. Even with the funk they're in, even with the mistakes that were made on Dak's behalf, still didn't get in his head. Still went out there, still won the game. Now, yes, it's more than just him, but he did his part after that. It didn't get in his head, didn't get in anyone's head. Didn't affect them, didn't lose him the game.
So here's the question for you guys, right? So from overall collectively, from the defensive point of view of the game, who would you like? And I think it's going to be an obvious answer. Who was the biggest standout in the game?
Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to say Micah Parsons.
No, it's got to be Micah Parsons.
Randy Gregory.
I understand why. I understand why you say Randy Gregory, and you're entitled to your opinion, but it's wrong.
Yeah. And this is why we love this show.
You couldn't even say that any more condescending. It's like we valid your opinion.
But no, it's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Yeah.
It is a fair point. Randy Gregory played fucking lights out. He's a lineman, and he got an interception for fuck's sake, and he tipped it himself. That was all Randy. He's playing like a badass. Yeah. But to put him above Micah, I think is a bit of a stretch. Because he has like we said earlier, he has completely hurdled the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. He is now staring probably from the front of the pack, or at least right at the very top, to Defensive Player of the Year. Out of everyone.
Well,
and that's only happened once before. I think someone's got both.
Lawrence Taylor.
Exactly.
And put this in perspective. See the Defensive Player of the Year award when it went to Khalil Mack when he won
Khalil Mack 2016. I remember this one. Yeah.
Right. All the stats that Khalil Mack did that season, everything that Micah Parsons done has went above that. He's got more sacks, more tackles, more everything, pretty much more, and that's only 13.
Pretty much everything, or at least the vast majority. But if you look, how many other players?
Everything in that 2016 season, Micah Parsons has overseed Khalil Mack. Everything, absolutely.
Let's have a genuine conversation for 2 minutes, right? On Defensive Player of the Year, okay?
Yeah.
Name me another player in this league that has played multiple positions on the defense to that higher level this season. Name me one.
No
one has. And he's a rookie. He deserves to be, at least at the minute. I'm not saying give him the award right now because the season's not over yet. But I think he's definitely a front runner for it. I think that is a genuine, realistic, not hyped conversation. I mean, for goodness sake, I know it's coming from the fans as well, but there's a reason that people are now asking the question, should we put him in at running back? Because, fuck me, he could probably do it.
Well, he used to be a running back as well.
Exactly. So. He could probably do that at NFL level as well. He could probably go do linebacker and defensive end and defensive lineman, and fuck yeah, just put him in running back as well. You know what? Just play both. Play both ways the entire game, and he'll just go, okay, I'll love it.
In fact,
he's just young and he's just angry at everyone.
Valenti actually made a good point there. Like, he's nowhere near Parsons' level, but Myles Garrett has had it. Myles Garrett. For Cleveland, he's actually had a really good season, but
he has had a good season.
But it's nothing compared.
Not comparable.
Not comparable.
It's unreal.
But that's the closest guy we can think of for sure.
He is a football player. This is one of those guys that isn't a positional, person. He is a football player.
I'll make the point for TJ Watt, right? Whatever numbers Myles Garrett has. Whatever numbers Myles Garrett has, TJ Watt playing an equivalent number of snaps or games would have the same numbers. But neither of them are playing two positions. And I'm going to throw it to Graham.
Let me counter that point, Brian. Right, here's a stat. This is from NFL.com. So I'm going to run off the sack leaders. Right, the sack leaders are TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Robert Quinn, remember him? Nick Bosa, Matt Judon, Trey Hendrickson, and Micah Parsons. They all have 12 sacks plus
or more. Yeah.
Which one of them has 52 solo tackles?
Micah
Parsons.
Yeah. And this is where I'm saying he's playing two positions. He's not just playing primarily pass rusher.
Exactly. Exactly. He's not just playing a game at one position.
Could TJ Watt do it?
No.
Not to the same level.
Could the most likely guy who will win Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, do what Mike Parsons is doing? He could on his backside.
No.
You have to consider it that he is doing this, one, in his rookie year, and two, from two different positions at the same freaking time.
Is it in, I don't know if this is unheard of, but can the player win both awards? Can they?
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor did.
Lawrence Taylor did.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's the thing.
Just give it to Micah. Seriously,
it's insane. He's already got Defensive Rookie of the Year. Pretty much has. Even if he falls off a cliff at this point, realistically, is it going to hurt his chances that much that he doesn't get it? I think there's an argument to say no.
Here's the other thought. What other rookie can we think of that is actually in the contention of defensive rookie year? I can't even think of anyone. I can't even remember any other defensive player. To be honest,
it's the thing. No one really, because he's left them all behind.
Satan, yeah, I mean,
but it's not comparable. It's not comparable.
Yeah, it's out the question for sure, Brian. Yeah, for definitely.
Satan has played very well at his position for a rookie.
Yeah,
Micah Parsons has played exceptionally well at his position and someone else's position to a much higher level all season, consistently.
And he's made an instant impact in every game he's been in, regardless. Whereas Satan, he can just play off and just let other players, if it's the ball's not going towards him, it's going to the other cornerback. But whereas Parsons, he's in every single play in your face. But gotta love our defense, man. This is the praise we've been dying for when we're talking about our defense.
This is the thing, and this is what I said at the top. It's amazing to be in this position, to have a defense that's rounding into form at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this goes to back up the chat we had earlier on. No one is knocking the Micah Parsons pick. We're all completely loving it.
Yeah.
But I go back to the phrase that I keep using a lot of the time. You don't park a Lamborghini in the driveway when the foundations of your house are falling down.
That's true.
You look after your house, and the foundations of the Cowboys is their offensive line.
Oh, you could use this terminology, Graham. You could always put a Tesla, and it helps powers up your home.
Good point, well made.
Yeah.
Here's the box. Here's Paul.
Solar power.
Power.
So, a point. Look, this was a point our good friends Meg and Kelsey mentioned on Sunday. I'm going to ask you guys this: are you more excited about seeing our defense on the field right now?
Absolutely.
Fuck yes.
Absolutely. I'm just waiting how quickly we're going to get that first sack or first interception. That seems to be that's the bets we're doing now. It's like, when's Diggs going to get his next interception? How many is he going to pick off? How many sacks we're going to get today? That's it. Like, when have we ever been excited about actually doing bets on the defense? How many tackles for loss we're going to achieve? What is the maximum number of yards we're going to give up? Like, we've not had anything to be excited about the defense for over years. Yes, man.
I can't wait to find out how much extra money Diggs is going to make just based on bonuses for interception numbers.
Oh, wow.
Like, fuck me.
I mean,
that's one hell of a bonus right there, surely.
To me, for the past maybe month now, it's been a Cowboys defense or a Cowboys offense that's held up the other.
Yeah.
See, when both sides of the ball click, someone's going to get a doing. Someone's going to get an absolute. It's going to be.
It's going to be a doozy.
That's a great.
It's going to be a fucking doozy.
That's
what I'm saying. If they can round into form, if the defense can stay the course now, stay hungry, stay humble, unlike they were years ago.
Yeah,
they can stay humble and stay hungry, which I think they will. I hope they will, fingers crossed. And the offense can sort its shit out, get out of this funk. Someone's going to get absolutely creamed in the playoffs. Someone's going to get creamed. They're going to get the floor wiped with them, and they're not going to see it coming.
Yeah. To be fair, that did happen in the Atlanta Falcons game, but there's just a point here that Joe did bring up, and he said the last time he was that excited was a Tom Landry Doomsday defense. I'm going to counter that, Tom, and say the dynasty team in the 90s, the defense was vastly underrated.
Yeah,
I would not put this current defense above that.
Come defense. On, like Lincoln Coleman, for example, a good friend of the show, very underrated player. Like he was absolute stud in that football field back in the day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you had guys like Kenny Gant, Bill Bates, who were situational players.
Yep.
They would walk onto this team, absolutely walk onto it. So I get the hype around the defense, and we all love what's happening at the minute. But let's temper things a little bit.
Yeah. What was it? What was it? Our friend Brad Sham always said is like, think about the next game. Don't think too far ahead.
Yeah.
So I think we always need to keep that in perspective. It's just think about the next game. But if there's one,
I can hear Jason Garrett's voice right now. We're going to take it day by day.
Oh God, don't do that. But what I was trying to say was just like if there was a surprise, player that I would like to give a mention is actually Jordan Lewis. He had a fantastic game.
Agreed.
Against Washington. Like I was blown away. It's like that was probably one of his best games under a Cowboys uniform, hands down.
It wouldn't surprise me if Jaron Kearse went to the Pro Bowl.
He's definitely in contention. And this is why I said earlier on, one of the two will be kept. And I do think it's Kearse.
See, here's my problem, right? And I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this. Jordan Lewis, maybe 1 in 4 games he shows up.
Kearse, I agree. I agree.
That point.
Kearse 1 and 2. I still don't think we have the badass safety. We don't have a Darren Woodson on this defense that we need, or even a Barry Church.
In fairness, though, Brian, we are starting to see more of Hooker as time goes on. That could be something.
Maybe. I agree, Paul. Maybe.
Yeah. So, but as the way how things are progressing right now, we're definitely moving in the right direction from all parts of that defense, from the D-line to the linebacker core and to the secondary. We're all moving in the right direction. But
and you say, go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. If there's still one little flaw in our defense, and not to trying to single them out, I still think Anthony Brown still gives us a little bit of a nightmare from time to time. That's the only criticism. Like he has his moments of magic where he makes a great play, but there's just more.
He's had a few screamers.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I could really think of in terms of.
That's a fair point.
Any negative towards our defense as we're going right now is Brown just needs to kind of make sure he keeps his foundation set and just not drift off into a whole different world, you know. But
then the good thing is that, and to counter the point, Brian, that you made about Jordan Lewis, about him showing up once in every 4 games, that's a vast improvement. Jordan Lewis is definitely, like with a lot of other people, is trending up, and that is being fueled by other people. Well, no, he definitely is, because before he was playing rubbish. He very rarely showed up and made a play. Now he's making multiple. Granted, it's every couple of games, still a bit flashy, but he is getting more consistent as he goes on. I would call him consistent because he's not, but he's getting there.
Here's the thing.
These people are playing up because the likes of Micah, because of the likes of Randy, because of the likes of Tank, because of the likes of Trayvon Diggs. These other people are playing up because of that, because they're being spurred on.
Do you think I've got a wee sub-question in regards to what you're just saying there, Rich? Do you think it may be because we had Chidobe Awuzie before, and there was that whole rotation thing with him and Lewis? Do you think that may have been a factor to why?
Maybe.
I mean, That's the only thing, like, because it seems like when Lewis is getting a bit more consistency, he is absolutely, he can be fantastic. But what Brian's saying, it's like every 1 in 4 games that seems to happen, and I completely agree with that.
It is.
I think it really depends on who we play against.
It does depend on who you're playing against, because he's not. This is the thing. He is who he is. He's not a star player. He's not a stud. I wouldn't put him in that category. But he is getting better.
Okay,
100% he is getting better. He is getting more consistent. You are seeing more of those flashes in a shorter period of time. Previously, you could go a half a season and maybe get one of those.
Yeah.
But I'll counter that and say this is his 5th year in the NFL. He needs to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah,
he does. But if he looks like he's starting to shit, then let him shit.
Right,
come on, Graham. I can see you going for one.
Yeah. On your road, Graham, and we'll move on after this one.
I mean, we took corners in the 2nd and 3rd round to get over this chat. You know, if our cornerback selection had worked out, there's a possibility Lewis wouldn't have been in the conversation.
Yeah,
you know, especially with
Calvin Joseph.
With Calvin Joseph, yeah, I think on a Cowboys defense taking a corner in the 2nd round, you expected Joseph to start.
Yeah,
and so far it hasn't happened. But we can't pull a Trayvon Diggs out of the hat every single year, I suppose.
No.
So,
exactly.
Right. So before we move on to our last segment, special teams, which we'll need to give our special teams always a good shout out. But Dog does raise an interesting point, and this is going back to the offense, and I agree with this. Does anyone have a problem with Lyle Collins protecting Dak? I certainly do not. I think he did the right thing. Stand up for your quarterback. Protect him, and by all means, even Zeke was getting in about it as well. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
It was
as long as it doesn't become a habit.
Yeah.
As long as getting ejected doesn't become a habit, I'm happy.
I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. I did agree with what Collins did.
Yeah.
However, that it was a bullshit call to eject him. It was absolutely bullshit.
But
he barely pushed the guy.
Yeah, it's like,
it's get out of there. If you were going to eject someone, eject Zeke. Zeke was standing on the sidelines. Lyle was coming from behind the play.
Yeah.
Why was he ejected? It's a bullshit call to eject him.
You know why? Brian? Because we're the Cowboys. It always happens to us. It's that simple. Like
I think it's probably also to do, in fairness, with the fact that he did kind of take a swing at him. That'll typically do it, but you know.
I didn't see his swing, to be honest. He kind of pushed him and maybe followed for a second.
He properly, if you go back and watch it, he runs up, he basically half tackled the guy to fuck him off out of the way, and then he goes at him again, and Zeke's coming in, giving it the big I am as well.
Yeah.
And basically he swings for him, and that's why he got ejected. If he'd have left it there and just fronted up to him, and just kept walking into him because it's Lyle Collins, and the guy's going to back up because you're a mountain compared to him, nothing would have happened. It's because it was that second effort.
To answer the original question, I absolutely loved it. I think there's too many GMs and head coaches out there that get a little bit pissed off when their teams don't show fight for the quarterback. I can't remember who it might have been Jerry Jones, but he came out publicly and said that it angered him that his team didn't leap to the quarterback's defense.
Okay. And we were all pissed off.
Yeah. The quarterback's the stud on every. It was meant to be the stud on every single team. So if you're not going to defend him, who are you going to defend?
Because we saw that last year when Andy Dalton went down against Washington, and you saw offensive line just standing there like lost souls. Just looking down. It's like prod them. Are you getting up?
Yeah,
it's like why aren't you
alive?
Are you alive? Why the hell? Why was there no response getting after that defensive play for the cheap shot? You know what I mean?
But to go back to the foul, I mean, you only have to look at the amount of taunting calls that are getting called this year. I mean, they've elevated that. So for somebody to throw an arm or a shove off after the player, whatever like that, stuff like that. I mean, that I can see why they ejected him. Basically, they're trying to stamp a lot of things out, and after the play stuff is one of them.
No fun league.
No fun league.
I get it. I get it, but hey, it is what it is. But the good thing is, in the juxtaposition of last year, like you said about Andy Dalton, was, don't get me wrong, Lyle Collins was the one that's ejected, and Zeke was there as well, helmet off, not giving any Fs, getting in amongst it. But everyone was up off the bench, and the guy was swarmed.
Yeah.
Like, people, it looked like refs coming in, trying to get him out there, because the guy was about to get lynched.
To reverse the question, I would have been absolutely raging, boiling over if he didn't react.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Well, no, on that note, I think it's now finally time to go on and talk about our special teams, guys. Last segment of the show. I mean, it was actually a really decent, if not almost perfect, in terms of special teams, when you really do think about it, in terms of Greg Zerline and in terms of our punts. It was 4 for 4. He was 4 for 4.
Zerline kicked all his goals. Anger kicked all his punts.
Yeah, and all good distance.
What more can we say?
Yeah.
And in fairness, I think it was that blocked field goal attempt at the end was a very, very big play.
Yes.
Mentally, because like I said earlier, they didn't let it. The offense didn't let it get to them too much. That was a big problem. There's a big difference between having a 7-point lead and a 6-point lead.
Yeah. The only criticism I will say, and this is the only the only thing, is like we seem to be, especially when we're on kick blocking or punt block, we're causing a lot of like unnecessary. Like, do not touch the punter at all. Like,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
That's cost us a few times in a couple of games, and it seems to be one we've not actually managed to rectify yet. I'm all for trying to block the punt, but you don't need to be right in front of the bloody punter's bloody face and put them down on the ground. You're going to get flagged for that every single time. So that's the only criticism I can think of.
You will, but that's inevitable. The one thing I would say to that is that's inevitably going to happen when they're doing what they're doing, which is exactly what you said, trying to go for the ball, trying to block punts, trying to get in his face, trying to knock stuff down. That's going to happen whether you get tackled into the guy or not, any of those other things. Because like you said, if you make contact, you're probably going to get flagged and it's probably going to go through anyway. Yeah. That's going to happen. Same as if you go gunslinger approach, you're going to throw some interceptions. But as long as you come in out on top, generally, you can live with it.
Are we ready to take Corey Clement off kick returns?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's Corey Clement?
He's our first down.
He's the juggler.
Oh, no, I know who he is.
Yeah. I suppose, and going back to Zerline, I suppose I give him enough heat when he does miss one. So for him to kick all 4 and the extra point, fair enough. But I still think he's a 75% kicker.
Yeah, and Valenti, I agree, but I think Andrew's actually done a really good job since taking over. Taking over,
there's been a lot of long fields, not very many short fields. Even when he's been kicking from well into our own territory,
and
placement's been pretty good.
Not just that, even the bounce rotation as well, like the projection, how the projection of the ball, it doesn't like normally roll into the end zone, and normally rolls off to the sideline, and that's like even better for us.
Pretty good.
So all kudos to Mr. Anger there, man. So, in saying that, that's pretty much us, isn't it?
It is.
Covered. Yeah. So with that being said, then we'll pay off the bills and we'll call the end of the show. So, so guys, if you are planning going to a Dallas Cowboys game this season or next season or whenever, be sure to go to cowboysexperience.com for the ultimate meet and greet, tailgating and game day package experience, where you get to meet current Cowboys players like Michael Gallup and former players like Travis Frederick and Drew Pearson, Lincoln Coleman, our good friends of the show, Kenny Gant. Like the list, I can name the list that goes on. guys, when I trust you when I say this, these Barry and Michael from Cowboys Season will treat you like absolute royalty. And all you need to do is use the promo code UK Cowboys. And guys, what do you get if you use the code, Rich?
You get free stuff. Like there's a guy generally around this time of year, right? There's a guy that knows a lot of stuff. Big belly, red suit. He knows whether you use that code or not. Use the code. Don't be a clown.
And saying that, do you want to see one of the stuff, like one of the things I picked up from my friends from the States, and you guys are gonna blow your mind. Give me 1 second.
So
it's Travis Frederick's severed head.
as Paul goes out, we also love to give a shout out, as we always do, to our fellow content creators. If I could get myself organized, it would be great. So the guys over at the Dallas Cowboys media team, Brandon and Marcus, Jay Tuck, Big Game James, Katie's Fun Tweets, Law Nation, and anyone there, give them a follow. Their content is absolutely exceptional. So make sure you give them a shout out and a follow. Paul,
while we're at it,
right. So
hang on. While we're at it, in terms of shout outs, very quick. Happy birthday, David Hellman.
Yes, happy birthday, David
Tiny
Hellman.
Jim.
Tiny Jim.
So Austin's asking me what did I get free. So obviously I got inclusive access to meeting likes of the players and stuff like that. At a discount price and stuff like that, and also got to have free food and free drink at the event, and honestly, I had a great time. I was actually on Law Nation's podcast as well during the whole segment as well. So, but what I want to show you is what my friends from Houston got me, and guys, this is gonna blow your mind. I've got.
If this is a Texans jersey, I'm not going to be happy.
No. My friends from Houston did me a big, massive favor and got me a signed Roger Staubach jersey.
Nice.
Bruh.
And I was like, holy shit! So this is getting so this is getting framed up. I still need to get my Larry Allen jersey signed up as well. So. All this is going to come to Texas with me when I move over there at some point. So, yeah. Big thank you for Tracy down in Houston for that.
Take Beasley down until he retires.
Yeah, that's definitely coming down. Sorry, Cole. Sorry, mate.
Randy White, Larry Allen, Roger Staubach, Neville Gallimore. I mean, who else could you want, Paul?
Yeah.
And you're not getting my Jeff Easton, so no.
But I think on that note, that's us. Yeah.
Don't forget Thursday night. Mike and the guys will be along for the pre-game show for this weekend's game against that team from New York. My thanks to Paul, to Graham, to Rich for their inputs and great conversations tonight. And it's over to you guys to say good night.
Good night, guys. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Night.
We want Dallas.
You got Dallas.
Yeah.